All right, this is continuing our series on original oratory. We're going to talk in this episode about research and topics because that tends to be an area of difficulty for students is finding a topic that they're interested in and then how to go about finding research on that topic. So in the previous episode, we talked about the structure of it. We did some general overview about topics. We talked about where you might research. And then finally, we went over the structure of the speech. Okay, so let's move on now to topics. So I mentioned last time that a couple areas to look on would be to follow current events. And so a couple different places to check out. You can check out newspapers like the New York Times or the Boston Globe might be good options as well. Now, when you do it this way, you're going to have to read in between the lines because they're not going to focus on deep topics. But if I'm just scrolling through the page, I can find stuff that will lead me to deeper topics because you're not going to write about one thing that's happening. You're going to pick on a story and find the deeper issues and use that for your speech. Okay? So that's one way to be looking at newspapers. You can also check out longer form journalism. So example would be the Atlantic magazine. So this is slightly different than a newspaper. This is a magazine, but it's also, they have a lot of online content. And on here, you'll find deeper takes on topics. So these articles will be longer. That will give you a lot more context and backstory. And you might be able to find something that interests you on here by just scrolling through and looking at the headlines and the different areas and topics. Okay. There's lots of websites like this where you can look. Some of them will be more helpful than others. Obviously, Time magazine is a place where some people look for research topics because they tend to go and focus on larger trends and bigger topics. Okay, so you can also look at magazines. All right, and the next one that I said was TED Talks. I find this to be one of the more helpful ways to go learning about new and interesting things that are happening. So this is TED's website, and on TED's website, you can search areas by topics, and you can see that they have, according to a tagging system, all the different topics that are covered in a talk. So let's say that an area that really interests you is sanitation, for example. Sanitation, let's talk crap. Sanitation is trash and doo-doo, to use the technical term. And this will give you a bunch of different topic areas that might interest you. Now, there's probably a temptation if you're a student to say, oh, look, I've got a pre-written persuasive speech for me. I'm just going to change a few of the words and a few of the ideas, and then I'm going to repackage this person's TED Talk as my own. Well, not only is that plagiarism, but it won't work well. Stealing someone else's ideas won't work well because, one, you'll likely be found out, and two, you likely can't do it as well as the person who did it originally. So you should look at these as spoken articles. So spoken articles that you can use and use as evidence in your piece. So it might lead you to your topic, which would be great, but you can't just take the whole topic. Okay, so I want to look through the topics of interest. And so brainstorming, the last area. So you might just, Google, I don't know, unpopular ideas. Okay. Julie Galef actually is one of my favorites. I've showed this to my students before. Here's an interesting topic. overall, it would be a good thing to have a totally transparent society with no privacy. Um, that seems like a pretty controversial idea. It seems like most people would disagree with it. So it seems like it's a wonderful original oratory topic, because if you're going to persuade people, you want to have something to persuade them of. If they already agree with what you're saying, when you come into it, it's not going to be hard to persuade them because they already agree. And that's not a strong original oratory. You want to say something that's different enough from the standard point of view that you actually have to persuade someone of it. Okay, so now that we've gone over topic areas, and once you've found your topic, then you need to start doing some research. Now, I know there's some points of view about how to go about researching, and I tend to disagree with most of them because I think the internet has a lot more potential for edification than often it has been the reputation that's been given. So, for example, a lot of people say not to use Wikipedia, and I agree with them. I think quoting Wikipedia is dangerous because it's something that is sourced by the crowd, so people can just contribute entries. But if you are going to do a topic on sanitation, I think there's no better place probably to find lots of background information and then a host of great references and articles about that than Wikipedia. So my recommendation, if you're researching a topic, is to go immediately to Wikipedia, read as much as you can understand, and then go down here to both uh, areas of other interest, references, which means the articles that they're sourcing for this, as well as the external links. All of these are great sources of information that can help you build your speech. I also just recommend just going to Google and checking out the first 10 articles, that come up when you search for Google. Okay. I'm not saying use these as sources, but I'm saying use these to start to build your body of knowledge, because you have to understand generally what a topic's about before you can actually do research. Because if you don't understand the topic and you try to do research, you won't understand what you're reading. It's that simple. If you can't understand the basic ideas, you won't be able to do research well. Okay? So once you've gone through Wikipedia, once you've looked around, once you've gotten the basic ideas, then you can go to different places to find more scholarly articles. You can go to Google's Scholar website. You can annotation. You could start looking here for some peer-reviewed sources. But honestly, I think one of the best things to do is to use Google, as I said, and do sanitation articles and look through for example, here you go. If you look, this is the Chicago Tribune, which is a good source. It's a national, it's a regional newspaper, but it's got national reputation. And you can look through and find articles about your topic. Okay. There's lots of different ways to do this. There's no one single way to research a topic well. Obviously, you can try and go to the library, but that probably won't work that well, because what you're looking for is the latest research, the latest ideas. So there is no one right way to research. But what I would suggest is this order of operations right here: Wikipedia, and the sources at the bottom, and then keep expanding out so you understand. All right. We'll do more on the next episode.